So the story here in North Dakota this year is moisture, or lack thereof, super big drought going into the winter, and then we got a massive snowstorm, blizzard, mid-April. That created a lot of moisture. The question is how much of that's going to get into Sakakawea. I don't know. The frost was already gone, so a lot of it might soak into the ground. Might not get all that much help from it. But the one thing it did do was muddy up the Missouri River a ton. I spent a few days on the Missouri River with Kent Yancey from Big Muddy's Guide Service, one of my guide friends, and super muddy, but we got some really nice fish. One day, releasing a 29 Missouri River hogger.
Big fish day on the Missouri River.
Pre-spawn piggies. Only 7 3/4. And then things got a little tougher as it got dirtier. But I'm finally back out here in Sakakawea. I think we're gonna get a foot or two rise here in the spring from that runoff, if we can get some more rain up in the mountains and stuff, maybe even a late snowstorm again. We'll get a little more. But I launched at Stanky Bay today. They got the low water ramps in, they got docks in now, and everything's good there. You gotta be careful getting out of the launch area, careful getting out of the bay and stuff, watch your graph, but you can get out there. The water temp in the bay is 42, and I'm gonna go out on the east end here in a second, probably too. Check that out. The main lake's like 37 degrees. So we're probably close to the spawn. Some fish are definitely spawning, definitely. But I did hear of a fish caught yesterday that had some eggs in it yet. So there might still be a few big pre-spawn fish to chase after. And that's my hope for today. So what I'm fishing, the spring stuff, just pitching and jigging a minnow looking for fish. I'm not gonna get too crazy trying a lot of different things. I got a Fenwick HMG medium light fast 6'9" rod. I got 10-pound high vis Power Pro with the fluorocarbon leader at 10 or 12 pounds, 10 or 12 pound leader, and a light 1/8 ounce jig. Trying to keep it light, trying to keep it subtle, make it soft, make it floaty. Those fish are not gonna have a very high metabolism. I wanna give them every chance and opportunity to catch that bait if it happens to get in front of their face, because I don't expect a lot of aggressive fish today. Maybe not any fish at all, honestly. It's hard to say right now. But we're back. We're back in the saddle. We're back doing the thing. We're back on the water. It's spring open water fishing, fisher people. And what is up to you, fisher people? I do see a few fish around here on my graph in 5 feet of water. Gonna be fishing shallow. You might find some big females post-spawn sitting out deeper, potentially, but by and large, you're spring fishing, you're looking shallow. Less than 10 feet of water, finding wind-blown shorelines, sand and gravel, maybe some flooded timber out here in the reservoir, though not as much of that is actually in the water anymore. Work the jig nice and slow, especially on a day like today where it's cold, it's cloudy, it's 35 degrees outside. The fish are just not gonna be up and at them very much. Sunlight is your friend this time of year. Warming temperatures are your friend, especially post-spawn. And the afternoon is likely to be better than the morning. Those are the things I know. I'm gonna try to learn the rest of the things I don't yet know about this day and this lake yet this year, being my first time out here on my boat. Might just be a whole lot of how-to stuff. Maybe not a lot of fish catching stuff. I also got my new net. I got the RS net, the Kelly's Island, which is gonna be perfect for landing hogs you happen to watch that most bizarre 10 minutes of fishing video from last fall, I did not want a repeat of that episode. That net'll land a hog for sure. The other thing I should say is, I don't know if I mentioned, it's the first week of May. I did not get out to Sakakawea in April. That snowstorm changed a lot of things. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Let's go find some fish. When you're working these jigs and trying to be subtle, I'll let it sit on the bottom more than usual. Sometimes I'll just kind of pull it across the bottom a little bit. And when I jig it, pop it, it's just kind of just a tiny little, make it move 6 inches to a foot, and then let it float and pendulum down. Not a lot of action, just enough to get it airborne and let it hang there and see if you get that thump on the way down, or sometimes they'll just pick it right up off the bottom and you'll just kind of pull into it and there'll be weight there. And if you feel something funny, especially if you're fishing sand and there's nothing to grab your jig, it's probably a fish. Set the hook. Small fish might peck at the tails a little bit. Bigger fish are more than likely going to make up their mind and just eat it. So hook sets are free. Bring a lot of minnows. Don't miss a fish because you're afraid to pull the trigger. And don't be doing like this. That's not going to get it done right now. I don't know that it ever gets anything done a lot with jig fishing. That's a jig and wrap kind of stroke there. You don't need a big 5-foot sweep. You just want a little subtle pop and fall, and hold that rod tip up so that it pendulums down and you can feel the bite on the way down, since your line's going to stay tight. It's breezy today, so I love to be able to pitch downwind. Wherever you think there's going to be fish, or if you found fish on your graph, try to position your boat straight upwind of that so that you can fish straight downwind. Keep the line tighter, get the bow out of the line, feel what you're doing. Braid helps with the feel as well. If you're river fishing, I'd recommend the same thing, pitching downwind if you can, but mostly down current. Sometimes pitching sideways with the current and kind of letting the current kind of sweep it down across the spot. Don't pitch up into the current. That just creates way too much movement when you jig it back, because it picks it up and the current takes it even further. It's too much. Don't pitch into the current, pitch down current, pitch downwind. Sometimes a little sideways if you want to angle into a spot. But if you're pitching straight sideways or straight into the wind when it's breezy, you're not going to feel anything. You're going to miss fish. Take it slow. Think about what it's like for you when you're out here and it's 35 degrees. The water temp's the same. The fish are slow and lethargic. And especially if it's not a hot, heavy pre-spawn bite, if it's getting into the spawn or shortly post, you want any chance catching fish, you got to take your time. They're not going to chase it hard. They're not aggressive. They're not revved up. And also, I talk a lot about moving spots very, very often. I probably do that a little less in the spring, early spring, especially if I know there's fish around. If I know that there's fish in the area, I'll give them a little more time to work them over to see if they commit to a bait. Especially if I get one bite, I'll give it 15, 20 minutes to see if I get a second one, because it's probably not going to be hot and heavy. But make sure that there are fish in the area. Make sure you know it's a good spot, see some fish on your graph. If there are fish around, it's worth working them over for a little while and giving them a chance. Well, folks, I got a salmon on. That's something. Not a lot's happened. Found some fish, had one missed bite, and now I got this salmon going. We'll use the old Kelly's Island net to land this sucker. Maybe. I saw some fish in here on the graph, hoping they were walleyes, but salmon's better than nothing, right? Bit it right below the boat vertically. He is not tired yet at all, since I got him so close to the boat. he's gonna be really squirrely. But there you go. Little Sakakawea salmon, that's my second ever. We got a fish in the boat, probably a 22-incher, something like that. Off he goes. Yeah, I had a bite earlier on my second spot of the day. I was working it back into the boat and I was just kind of vertically popping it below the boat in case the fish was following it. And then I lifted to lift it up into the boat and it was just heavy. And I go, oh crap, that's probably a fish. And then it did one head shake jolt and hook was out a split second before I could set it. So I lost that one. I think that was probably a decent walleye is what it felt like to me. But hey, we caught fish. We caught a salmon. That's something. That's something. First Sakakawea fish of the year is a salmon. Go figure. Well, there's not a whole lot going on yet. I think it's just a little too late to the game for the pre-spawn, possibly. Then we gotta wait a little bit for post-spawn, at least for the walleyes. But the season is young, my friends. This is just the beginning, and it has finally begun after a long wait this year. So stay tuned. We got a whole year ahead of us of fishing on Lake Sakakawea, maybe the Missouri River, probably a little bit of Lake Audubon smallies. That might be the next big thing that happens, to tell you the truth. Of course, the migration up north by Newtown, fishing the river. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, of course, to make sure you see all the upcoming videos from this season. And you can also check out Patreon if you want to support the channel, and or if you would like to get the exclusive Fisher Person Insider fishing reports during the season once there's something to report. It's all ahead of us. It all lies ahead. So if I don't catch another fish, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.